And if I get lost, I know I can return. There's a drink awaiting me at the tavern. Oh, if I get lost, I know I can return. There's a drink awaiting me at the tavern.
Hello again. We're back. And this will be one of those streaming sessions I was looking forward from these 2 weeks because I also fell in love with Tavern Talk. But it will actually be my last streaming session of IndieX 2024 because then I will have to get ready for tonight's award ceremony and, you know, you know, all the chaos that I still have to go through. And we actually were talking off the record, me and Selima, that I would like to introduce, the developer of Tavern Talk, that we knew some people that were really looking forward for this streaming session because Tavern Talk was one of their favorite games from IndieX 2024. And coincidentally, at the same time, one of them, Bruno Carvalho, just appeared and said, "Hi, I really wanted to watch this. It's one of my favorite games." Selima, is there a better way to start the streaming session on Tavern Talk?
This is the best way to start. It excites me so much when people are excited for the things that I and my team created. So I'm very happy to be here and talk about Tavern Talk today.
First of all, thank you for spending this for the hour that we're gonna spend and for being available to talk to us, and obviously for submitting Tavern Talk to IndieX and allowing us to the honor of having it as one of our 50 finalists. So thanks a lot. And you you're the developer, but how many people develop Tavern Talk?
So the team of Tavern Talk started really small. We started developing the prototype with, I think, in the beginning, 4 people, and it got gradually more. And I think in the very busy times, we were up to like 10 to 15 people on the project. And yeah, so we had like a fluctuating team depending on the developing phase, but it's like yeah, the most people that worked on it were like 10 to 15, and basically everyone at Gentle Troll got to work on Tavern Talk at some point.
This isn't your first game published, isn't it?
This is our first entertainment game that we published.
Hmm.
We have been making serious games and educational games for 10 years. Like Gentle Troll had its 10th birthday this year, actually. And yeah, and we were doing a lot of like serious games that had like educational purposes, and we were trying to get into the entertainment branch for quite a time, and then we did that with our debut title, Tavern Talk.
Just a small message production. I noticed this in the morning. Some people are saying also this on the chat that the host's microphone is lower than the rest. Please, can you check it? And thank you. So, by the way, I think it's an obvious question. 8 years ago, we had a finalist at IndieX, a game called Coffee Talk that obviously was really important for us. And unfortunately, the creator, the late Fami, died a couple of years ago, and we actually we did an homage to his memory. 2 years on the ceremony of 2022. You guys played Coffee Talk too, I guess.
Yes, exactly. We played Coffee Talk, and Coffee Talk is also one of the two biggest inspirations behind Tavern Talk. And what's been really sweet was that the Coffee Talk dev team actually we are in contact with them and we talk to them, and they were really supportive of Tavern Talk as well. And it was really nice to connect with them because we just saw them as such an inspiration, and we really love Coffee Talk.
And what's the second inspiration?
The second inspiration is actually a bit of a funny story. So no, actually, there are several inspiration. One of the second biggest would be Dungeons and Dragons and like the whole fantasy thing. But the idea that inspired a Tavern Talk was that I was on TikTok one night, and there was this thing trending called Tavern Talk, where people would dress up as innkeepers and pretend that the people watching it are how do you say, adventurers coming back from adventures, and then the innkeepers would make them drinks and food, and then they would head off to their next adventure. And then I watched this, and there's this one TikToker called Quincy's Tavern, and I was watching this, and I said, huh, wouldn't it be funny if you played an innkeeper and you made drinks to adventurers to help them on their quest, and then you would be kind of responsible whether they make the quest or not. And I figured that the best setting for this would be kind of like a coffee talk like game, where you just talk to people and make drinks, and you can't do much more because you're just an NPC that has to kind of control the world from their little tavern. And this is how it happened. So um, the initial idea was Tavern Talk TikTok, and then it was the medium was Coffee Talk, Coffee Talk like, because it has the best gameplay to deliver the type of story we wanted to deliver.
This is when I talk about doing NEX and the crazy thing, which is building this for 9 years now. I always say that the best part is these conversations with creators, to even to know these really funny stories. I would never imagine that this would arise from obviously Coffee Talk, but a TikTok trend.
Yes.
It's amazing. Thank you for sharing
Of
sharing the
course,
story.
of course.
So now I would suggest, while me and Selima talk about this amazing game called Tavern Talk, for everyone to actually watch why we love the game so much. So let's dive into Tavern Talk.
Let's go.
So Bruno, yeah, it was Bruno asking here, whether did you have a pretty clear idea for the art direction for this game? How did you decided and set on this is how this concept works with this aesthetical approach? How did this go?
So when we were brainstorming about Tavern Talk, we had a. I was in a call with a colleague, and the artist was sitting in the call as well, just listening in, and then already was like sketching things while we were talking about it. And then when we worked out the concept, we looked at the potential styles that we could go for, and we wanted to go with a more um, cartoony look, and to really capture the emotions, because we have really expressive characters and really show how colorful the characters are. And we wanted to have a really really nice polished art art style, so it's nice to look at, because we're gonna be mostly looking at the characters and the background. So this is what the decisions what the style decisions were that we made. And also one of the inspirations behind this style was Hades as well. As you can see, like, we use like these darker shadows a little bit to create depth. And yeah, this is how we chose why we chose the art style. We really wanted something that looks polished but also cartoony, and is accessible for like a lot of people.
Something that I really noticed, I'm also an avid board gamer.
Mm-hmm.
I correlated your art direction with a contemporary approach to some European games with
Mm-hmm.
fantasy theme, and I immediately thought, could this, because I already played some games that some board games that put you in the perspective like you're in this fantasy world,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not the hero. You're even the shop owner. You're, I know, the hotel owner, and here you're the innkeeper. Did you ever think about bringing Tavern Talk to a different medium, in this case, board games, because the art style fits perfectly?
Um, there's definitely have like been thoughts about it. We also what we did for our Kickstarter campaign that we had last year, exactly a year ago almost, was that we created a one shot in like if not like a tabletop RPG one shot that people could
Yeah, yeah.
play. So personally speaking, this is something that is like some like I'm like bringing Tavern Talk to a tabletop RPG medium, for example, which we kind of fulfilled a little bit by making this one shot, is something that I personally uh, dream of a little bit, because it's such a perfect um,
It's
yeah,
a
it's such
natural thing, natural
yes,
step.
yes, and we did so much world building as well for creating this fantasy world. Of course, we draw inspirations um, from certain places, but also we built this whole world from scratch, right? So we can do a lot of things with this.
And something that well, obviously you researched that for your Kickstarter campaign. There's this resurgence of RPGs, not just the main ones, Dungeons and Dragons,
Hmm.
Vampire the Masquerade, but several other, let's call it indie RPGs, and people are backing it up. I think obviously it looks like the natural fit to bring the world of Tavern Talk from the screen to the table. I would see it, yeah, as an amazing expanded universe for this amazing world that you created.
Yes, and there are so many stories that we didn't tell in Tavern Talk, right? But I like kind of hinted on, and different regions that there are. So, I mean, if you go on the map screen on the very right in the journal, you can actually see how. And this is just one continent. This is the
Hmm.
continent of Fizoa, and we have like several other continents as well. So we have a really big world. And in the Tavern Talk as well, we explored a little bit, because the adventurers actually go to these places and come back and tell you about these places. So yes, you're right. Actually, Tavern Talk has a lot of yes, a little bit of a playground to expand on. And yes, I don't want to say too much, but some things might be happening with that world.
Yeah, I'm actually going to read the question we have on the chat that
Mhm.
fits perfectly to what you're saying. So Sessions is asking, what is the roadmap for the game? I see a new DLC is coming out soon. Do you plan to keep releasing DLCs in the future, or do you plan on moving on to maybe Tavern Talk 2 or other projects?
Mhm. Um, so the DLC is coming soon, yes. And as I said, and I can't really say too much about it, we are working on things to keep Tavern Talk alive. Let's put it like that, but also have new things going on, of course. So some exciting things are coming up.
Okay, since you don't, and I completely understand you don't want to disclose too much,
Mm-hmm.
we also have something to announce tonight. So let's do more or less an arrangement, which is the thing that we might be disclosing tonight. Maybe gonna take that opportunity in a few months when you can disclose the thing that you can't disclose now to actually disclose it. Okay, I know this is pretty pretty general speaking,
Yes.
but we would like to keep on updating our audience and
Mm-hmm.
our followers regarding how is Tavern Talk, the Tavern Talks universe expanding. So it would be really really great to, yeah. And people are saying we're very good at keeping secrets here. Yes, we
Mm.
are, but let's keep it in time. Okay, we're gonna,
It is. It is. It's gonna be worth it to be patient and wait what we're gonna be
yeah,
cooking up.
nice. Actually, you have here also another question, which is who composed the soundtrack? It's very good. Takes me to the right environment. I feel I am in a tavern, and I do medieval fair reenactments, and I have to agree that I feel this too. What Bruno is saying.
So our soundtrack is composed by, I hope I don't butcher the last name, Filippo Beck Picos, who's a very good composer. Like, I really enjoyed working with him, and we've been working together for a long time. He's been making the sounds and music for other projects of us as well. And with Tavern Talk, he also said it's really like, yeah, it comes from the heart, and it's a passion project for him as well, because he finally could get out all these traditional instruments again. He worked with a lute and like a guitars and different types of plucked instruments, and we really tried to capture this tavern atmosphere, but we didn't want it to be so it's a full tavern and it's so upbeat and very like medieval party like. We really wanted to have something cozy that really um, engages you, but also kind of wraps you in a blanket, so to say. And yeah, working with him was amazing, and he is great.
So in the meantime, I was just reading the recipe. I'm sorry.
Oh, good. Yes. And we actually were sitting together a lot of times, especially when we made the main theme. Uh, it was January 2023, and I think except he and everyone was still on holidays. And then we met on Discord, and he showed me something he randomly played with a mandolin. He was like, "What about this vibe?" And I listened to this, and it's the main theme that you hear in the main menu right now, almost like exactly like that. And I said, "This is perfect. Why do you say this is only vibes? This is perfect. I want it to be exactly like that." And this is how we kept developing the things. We were sitting together, listening to what he had prototyped or composed, and then um, yeah, refining it and adding layers to it. And we also decided that we wanted every character to have a theme rather than having a lot of mood tracks.
Yeah.
We thought the characters are so important to the story. We give them a track rather than having 5 tracks for neutral and 5 tracks for sad. We just work with the character themes a lot. Yes.
Obviously, a game like this, it relies a lot on the quality of its writing. When you sat with the team and decided the tone of the that you're gonna convey on Tavern Talk, what conclusions did you get? Like, what did you decide would be the tones of the different tones or the main tone of the game?
So our idea was to create an cozy game that you can play after work that doesn't have a lot of uh, pressure on you. So the gameplay is not that difficult. It's very simple. It's um, it's not that complex because we wanted to have people to have a good experience, like reading a good book. And we chose this NPC POV. So we thought, okay, let's go a bit of a. So let's go a bit. So there's several things. How do I put this without getting too convoluted? The tone of Tavern Talk is very cozy, humorous, but also can be serious. So we have some serious topics in the game, but we use a bit of like the found family is also a theme that we use. Like, we use this found family, this friendship themes to kind of cushion the rougher parts. So if something bad happens, you still know, okay, everyone is holding together. We have this I have my adventurers, they have me, and basically we wanted to have the feeling like you were playing a D&D campaign or any
Mm-hmm.
other pen and paper campaign, where you have your group and bad things happen, but in the end you still have each other. So funny things can happen, sad things can happen. And what we also do a lot in the narrative is we work with surrealism and absurdism. So sometimes we have like things like gasping vines, what are gasping vines? Probably vines that grow on a wall and gasp. But this is something unknown, and people have to try to imagine what that looks like. So we work a bit with like this absurdism, surrealism, um, to make it a bit like funnier, to even out the sad things that will happen or can happen depending on
More
your choices. Yeah.
more or less like a Terry Pratchett's approach to Discworld, that kind of
Yes.
surrealistic.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And while writing the like we have one dialogue in the game that was the very first dialogue that was written in Tavern Talk, and it's the for those who know Tavern Talk, it comes, I think it's on day 2, where the dwarf and the vampire walk in. This dialogue is the first dialogue that was ever written for Tavern Talk to set the tone of the game.
Was that like the initial of a joke, an internal joke, like a dwarf and a vampire go inside a tavern?
Basically, yes, because the characters happened because I had the idea of this dwarf that of this vampire who is a bit senile and forgetful and forgot his lost his cape, and this dwarf that is stuck with this vampire, and then they walk into a tavern and are looking for his cape. So that's basically how I imagine Tavern Talk to be like. So then I wrote this dialogue to set the tone for the game, and this dialogue is still in this game, mostly unchanged, and I think that's really beautiful.
And although the tone, a more lighted and cozy tone, you said you also tackled some more serious subjects. What kind of subjects did you go into? Because I still think, especially indie games, have been primordial in bringing um, some issues that obviously AAA games would never even dare to go to. So, Tavern Talk, what kind of difficult subjects or and important subjects did you go to among this more cozy tone?
So we work with topics of grief and betrayal and loss, and also on grief, not only in the meaning of someone died, but also what happens when you lose something or someone that's important to you, like a friendship going away, um, having family issues, all these things. The characters struggle with things that happen in the plot, touch upon these topics, and how how not really like how to deal with them, because they're like subtle themes, but more so that the found family that we have in the game, which is was very important to us because it's also a very important theme um, in pen and paper, or also with our community, how this having someone to rely on, and like working through these issues, how important that is. And yeah, so this is some of the biggest themes that we have in Tavern Talk, mostly grief, loss, betrayal, all these things.
And are you and the team also pen and paper RPG players?
Yes, very very much so. A big portion of the team is very much into TTRPGs, and especially the narrative team as well. So it was a given that we also took tropes from the pen and paper stories that we played through and lived through, and kind of worked them in there as well. So the characters also have, sometimes we make use of like pen and paper like tropes or like stereotypes, like the brooding rogue that doesn't talk a lot, but then you get to know them, and then you learn, oh, he's actually way more than just a brooding rogue that doesn't talk a lot, and then you learn why he's the way that he is. So we give these tropes and stereotypes a little twist to make them more alive and
Yeah.
more believable. Yeah.
And what are your favorite pen and paper RPGs?
I like Call of Cthulhu and Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
So yes. Do you have any? pen and paper that you
Yeah,
really like?
no, I do, and I'm completely. I kind of proselytize Vampire the Masquerade.
Oh yeah, yes,
It's
I've
my
been.
all-time favorite. I played Call of Cthulhu, I played Shadowrun, I played Dungeons and Dragons, but Vampire the Masquerade is simply
Hmm.
my go-to.
I have been wanting to play Vampire the Masquerade for a long time, but never managed to get into a group. That's the thing. I can't say that's my favorite pen and paper or TTRPG because I could never play it so far, but it's been wanting to for a long time. So who
I think
knows? Maybe it's gonna be my favorite.
it became my favorite because I feel even mechanically, or at least the way I always played it, both as a player and both as a storyteller. It looks like it's the more political one
Hmm.
because obviously you have combat and you have special and you have supernatural powers, but how the world is built, you kind of from the beginning notice, well, aside from humans, because humans are obviously weaker than vampires, you kind of want to stay away from combat because it's dangerous. So it's more like a intellectual and social and political kind of game, highly narrative. And then I always played it in, well, in our case, we always played with a custom contemporary Lisbon setting. You know, it's
Hmm.
like the Lisbon we know, but highly darker and more gothic and yeah, and political. That's why I love Vampire the Masquerade and
Hmm.
vampires. How can you like? I just
Yes.
answered this to Carolyn. You know,
Yeah.
she asked, "Do you like Team Vampires, or Team Werewolf?" I don't even have to think twice. It's Team Vampire all the way.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
But you have to try Vampire the Masquerade.
Yes.
I think it's less reliant on combat, but if you really enjoy and if you have a storyteller that creates an engaging story, I think it's easy for you to really get engaged on the internal politics of the
Hmm.
city and how vampires want to achieve their own personal goal and kind of egotistical creatures they are. Yeah, I just love it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah. It
I'm
sounds
I'm just
amazing.
selling. It looks like I'm being paid by now by Paradox because they acquired the IP, but I
Yes.
just love Vampire the Masquerade. You know, sorry.
Oh, totally understandable. Totally understandable. It's on top of my list. So fingers crossed that I get to play soon.
Yeah, and I think the pandemic actually helped this. You know, I think even for narrative video games like Tavern Talk, uh, somehow this approach, or at least for me, maybe I don't have the data. This is just empirical. Just looks like people got more open to this kind of immersive narrative uh, experiences. You know,
Hmm.
like Tavern Talk looks like exactly the perfect thing for after a work day or after dinner when I don't know the kids are sleeping and just want to relax and you can just sit and enjoy the story and brew some beverages to your patrons and you know
Yeah.
it's good that we also have this approach
That.
and it and the audience I don't know if it's getting bigger or not but
Mhm.
um I know what you feel because it just released the game in June if I
Mhm.
recall.
Yes. Exactly. We released in June, and what you just said was exactly the intention that we had with Tavern Talk because we realized the world when we started also developing this was stressful enough already. So we didn't want to stress the people with another stressful game, so to say, and wanted to create something like an yeah, a place to escape to. And so this is, I think, what Tavern Talk really does is being a welcoming space to you when you really want to go somewhere else. I like to call it also your little pocket D&D campaign. You know
Hmm.
how sometimes it's very hard to schedule TTRPG sessions, so you always have Tavern Talk that you can open and an adventure to experience.
Yeah, especially I've been noticing these shifts in other markets.
Hmm.
How, for example, even for RPGs, but mainly for board games, the idea of a solo experience for something that usually it was a collective experience, it's growing in terms of market. Okay, so many board games now have that. So you have this to play with 1 to 4 or 2 to 4 players, but you can also play it solo. And I've been finding some indie TTRPGs exactly with the same approach. Like, okay, you're alone, but you still want to play. Here
Oh
it
yeah.
is. Tavern Talk also feels that um, thirst for this kind of adventure. Is that what your idea
Yes.
behind it?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and I also like these solo adventures that you can play by yourself. And yeah, I think Tavern Talk really captures that as well as a little interactive experience.
So, and we've been chatting, and
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing some stuff more or less on autopilot, including brewing the beverages because we have this traditional Dungeons and Dragons like approach of statistics,
Yes.
and depending of our patron what they request, we can give them something that can boost a specific statistic or more than one statistic.
Yes, exactly. That's
Sorry.
why. Oh, good. We had this. We wanted the drinks to boost the adventurer, and then we thought, okay, then we just let's do it like a classic in an RPG where you have your skills or abilities and play with that. So we said, okay, then you can help give these people a bonus on a certain ability depending on the quest that they go to. So you can decide whether the quest is you want more diplomatic approach to the quest or more violent approach or forceful approach. You can decide that as the innkeeper. The characters will tell you, oh, maybe I should do this or this, but they leave the initial decision up to you. Like in this example right now where Fable wants to, or right now is a bit fighting with themselves, but wants to go on this quest, and we will be able to decide as the innkeeper how we want to support Fable in
Yeah.
conquering this quest. Yes.
And it's funny how Tavern Talk puts us on the other side of what we grew up for decades experiencing, which is always beaten TTRPGs or in video games.
Mm-hmm.
The concept of you hear a rumor from the innkeeper and you follow it and it's a quest. So even mechanically this existed because I just picked up three different small rumors that I heard. I combine it as an actual quest to give to Fable. So that's a really nice change of perspective because we're always used to having these innkeepers being more like just background,
Mm-hmm.
but now we're them.
Yes, exactly. So kind of give a bit of depth to the most known NPC because you always go to the innkeeper, you always go to
Yes.
the inn, you get the quest from the quest board. But what about the innkeeper? How does the innkeeper
Yeah.
feel? What is the innkeeper thinking? And we we didn't make the innkeeper a blank clean slate, like blank slate. So the innkeeper has a backstory and has a personality, but doesn't really like to talk about it. But you through bits and pieces throughout the story, you kind of get to piece things together that give you more in-depth image of the innkeeper. And I think it's also very beneficial if you start playing the game and you don't know a lot about the innkeeper yet,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
kind of get into the shoes of the innkeeper and ease into it. So it's a bit. So yeah, I think it's a good balance to give someone a backstory, but have the player and the player character experience living through their backstory again together, kind of.
Two curious aspects regarding that. The first one, it's obviously that when you think about it, the innkeeper in this kind of universes are obviously the best uh, information gatherers of all because everyone passes by, regular people, um, adventurers, everyone goes there, and everyone, even if they are not disclosing something to the innkeeper, he or she are there to just eavesdrop. So they
Hmm.
are the best information gatherers of all
Yes,
the world.
they see everything, they know everything.
Yeah. And the
Yes.
relationship you start having with your patrons, it's almost therapeutical.
Mm-hmm.
because you just noticed this with Fable. She's now opening up and saying, because I just openly and bluntly asked why nobody wants to hang out with you, and Fable is telling, yeah, because I'm really unlucky. So our support will obviously have influence in Fable's life. And the second thing, maybe we don't know a lot about our own protagonist because we discovered that we used to be adventurous, but then we took an arrow to the knee. Sorry, was this
Maybe.
bad? was this too bad?
No, I was just scared for a second if there's gonna be a potential spoiler here. So
No,
I'm
no, no, no,
like,
no. I wouldn't do that. It was just a
no.
really terrible joke. Okay,
Oh, good. No.
I wouldn't do that. No, no, no,
No,
no.
that's why I had to think.
No,
No,
no, no, no.
but yeah. So the thing is, especially with Fable, the first character we get to know, yeah, we really have this therapeutic relationship with Fable. But I think Fable also really encapsulates a lot of things that we as humans go through, being
Hmm.
scared of new things, getting out of our comfort zone, um, encountering dangers, things going wrong, fear of failure. All of these things are put into Fable. And some people, like a lot of people, love Fable. I also love Fable, but there are also some people that really don't like Fable because Fable is so.
Insecure.
Yes, exactly, and talks so much. But that's who Fable is, right? And yes, and Fable has also a very interesting development in this story, and I think this is also why it's very important that we set Fable up like this and have Fable be insecure, because we've all been insecure before. We can all relate to that.
Obviously, I don't want you to thread on spoiler field, but we have Sisha here asking if the adventurers we meet, if they can die, because dying is something that is in the possibilities of an adventurer, especially. And I would add, if this is a game that relies so much on our perspective, on more or less conducting the adventurers, if the death is a possibility, if there's a possibility in the storylines that actually our decisions can have these adventurers that meet us find their ill fate.
So death is a topic in Tavern Talk, but it was very important to us that it is like, if that happens, it's not the player's fault. So
Okay.
your decisions and the drinks you make cannot kill a character. That was
Okay.
very important to us. In every story, you like, especially in a classic, it's a very it's a very classic adventurous story. There are stakes, there's danger, so things can go wrong, people can die, but it was important to us that it's not the fault of the player. So it's not possible to mix a drink and then Fable dies, for example. It's
Okay.
never bad. Like these things, we didn't want to be the player's fault.
Okay, so that answers one of the questions that Bruno had in our chat, which was if we could poison them. So
No.
apparently not.
A lot of people asked
no
if we
laxatives too.
No, no,
Yeah.
no poison, no laxatives, just drinks. But you can make things that they don't like. So we have
Okay.
these during quests. You can make drinks, but they also just come to you and order other drinks. And there you can just make something that they don't like. It doesn't make them particularly happy though. They're gonna tell you like, I ordered something else. Why are you giving me this? Didn't you listen? And things like that. But you cannot poison them.
Regarding drinks, we also have another question. How much was the challenge of imagining different recipes? And if in any point we can actually see the innkeeper, or are we going from this? We're going to keep on, even knowing about their background, that you want to leave us the imagination of seeing this from a first person point of view and not actually defining who the innkeeper is visually.
Exactly. So we never see the innkeeper.
Okay.
So it's really up to you how you imagine the innkeeper to be. We had a very rough idea in the beginning that we quickly discarded because it was really creepy that you could actually see the hands of the innkeeper in the front, and we were thinking, oh, then you can choose your hands. kind of like a
Yeah.
character customization, but then you would have to have different hand animations maybe and stuff like that. And we had that in the very early prototype, and it was really weird and very uncanny and very creepy. So we took that out again, and yeah, that would have been the most you would have seen of the innkeeper. But it's we wanted to people to really imagine themselves or their characters or whoever they want as the innkeeper. The innkeeper can be anyone.
Yeah, and
Yes.
regarding the different recipes, how was the challenge, the internal challenge of coming up with both mechanically and both conceptually the drinks that we will find in this
hmm
along the gameplay?
So mechanically, it was a bit of a challenge because, of course, we because of time and resources, we had a limit of how many drinks we can make, and we wanted them to be balanced. We didn't want to have 5 or 10 drinks that go on charisma and then just one on strength and one on defense. So that was need to be balanced, and then the complexity and how complex new recipes get. Later, you get infusions, so you can infuse the drinks to make more complex recipes, and that was kind of a bit back and forth to balance. Visually, oftentimes we saw what ability this drink was supposed to go to. Like we see a spoken heart on charisma, and then we try to build a drink around around this, like a charismatic drink. How could we call it? Why is it called spoken heart? And the names then a little like in the names were there first, and then the visuals. So the names kind of gave a lead on how the game how the drink was supposed to look. So we see the spoken heart is a bit heart themed, the frosted lagoon is a frosty drink. So the artists got to work with the brief they got from the narrative and game design team.
So Fable now is asking. There's two things she's asking. One, it's a beverage that combines both the charisma and dexterity.
hmm
But she also said that she didn't want me to create anything new. That I should go with my abilities and the things I know how to do. Which means that can I give her two different beverages, or should I give her two different beverages?
So you see in the top is one dexterity. Like these are order snippets, like in a restaurant when the
Mm-hmm.
chef gets like snippets with orders on them. One is a dexterity order and one is a charisma order. And Fable says, don't try anything new, to encourage to tell the player, please don't just randomly put any ingredients in there. Please follow a recipe. Since Fable asked for charisma or dexterity on their quest, you need to make up your mind. Do I want to have a dexterous adventure for Fable or charismatic one? And that will determine what Fable tells when they come back from their quest.
Ah, okay. But eventually, we will also have to be creative in terms of mixing.
So the thing is, you cannot just randomly mix potions together. You always have to follow a recipe. But the drinks that you can choose for the quest, they get more because over the game you unlock more drinks. So you will be able to not only do the swift strike and the spoken heart, but also 2 or 3 other drinks, and then you can choose or what infusion. This is a thing that comes later. Do I want to put in? These are things that you can infuse the drinks with. For example, you will get the Phoenix chili that can give fire resistance to a quest and can give buffs or debuffs to stats. And then you kind of need to mix and match and see, okay, which is the best recipe that I get. But we didn't make it too complex that you could just do whatever you want, because that would have just also blown the scope out of proportion, because the game reacts to the drinks you mix, and then we would have had a lot of branching that would have and it was very important to us to create a story that was engaging, and the more branches you have in the end, the less you can focus on making the story, and the choices really matter. And it was very important that the choices that you do make have some sort of effect.
Because now I had Fable gave me two choices.
hmm
One, she wanted to be sneakier and pass by the werewolf, the dangerous werewolf. but she also had the idea of boosting her own self-confidence with the charisma
Mm-hmm.
drink, because she said maybe he's just hungry and um, he needs a friend, so I wanted to talk to him. And then she reminded us that the choice that we had could affect the outcome of the quest she's doing. So what I did was I decided not to let Fable engage in a talk with Werewolf, or at least not advise her to,
Mm-hmm.
and just boost her stealthiness with the charisma, with a high dexterity drink. So let's see if I was right or not. I think we will eventually know
Yes.
how this went. Okay, so the mysterious character like the spoken heart.
Mm-hmm.
So let's
And
go.
the reason why this character likes the spoken heart is we took one of the very first versions to um, game convention conference in Bavaria, where it was very small. It's called the GG Bavaria, and people played this game and encountered this character, and because he was so bad at talking, they kept giving him charisma drinks, like just pouring charisma in. And then we just said, okay, actually he must have this as the thing he orders, because he's so bad with talking and so uncharismatic, that this is what he truly wants.
So he's not just mysterious; he's shy.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
He could
So
need some charisma.
we also have a sense, although we don't look at their specific statistics.
Hmm.
Do these adventurers kind of level up or change their stats across the adventure?
um Not that we can see,
Okay.
basically. So they do have character development, but it's more in the narrative scope, uh, or so. But they also sometimes order different things, um, especially um, Fable, that starts out with ordering a lot of swift strikes and a lot of dexterity, eventually will also try something new. And also and then the character development, when they come back and tell you of quests and how they did something new and learned something new. This is basically just a narrative thing, and you don't actually see it in the journal or anything or anywhere. Yeah.
And here we are with the initial dialogue for Tavern Talk.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, it was just this idea of this vampire that had, yeah, tried to look for his cape and then got stuck in a big ooze, and then this dwarf that tried to find gold for her. She wants to be part of a smithing competition, and she wanted gold, and then this ooze ate the gold, and then she destroyed the ooze and found the vampire, and this is how they stuck together, because the vampire will just not stop talking about his cape. So uh yeah, it is and it was just such a funny setup
Yeah,
that
and
stayed in the game.
it's funny how the vampire has this really pompous French, really long name, and then the
Mm-hmm.
dwarf is called Kyle.
Yes. It's yeah, it's just, I think that captures the essence very well. um but also it's so also an interesting character, because it's right now very on the humorous side. uh, he's forgetful and all these things, and we chuckle, but if you think about it deeper, it's kind of a bit sad as well, that he's looking for his cape and he doesn't remember and all these kind of things. So these things are very like nuanced and like have many facets, and like, yeah, it's just, yeah, these characters all have their different sides to them.
This is
Yeah.
so good, so good. It was like we had hidden on the chat, like a character hitting their head in an adventure, losing a couple intelligence points, and speaking like Hulk. Is that a possibility? Speaking like Hulk the next time they come to the tavern.
Well, not exactly like that, but some things do have, yeah, like, if, for example, let's put it like that, if they go fight a dragon and they don't have fire resistance with them, they might come back a bit charred. Yes. So these things are very much possible.
Here goes. Rhea wanted something that boosted her armor, so it goes.
Yes. So Rhea's very aware of who we really are, or thinks we are just an NPC basically with pre-written text.
She's a self-conscious character on the story.
Yes, exactly. She does
So
like to
good.
do the fourth wall breaks a lot.
So good. So good. So, and I just noticed we just come to the end of our streaming session, and it's so easy to just get yourself lost in Tavern Talk because it's so the soundtrack is really warming and the story is really well written. The art direction is gorgeous. I think it really catches your eye just for you to look at a screenshot or a trailer. And I'm so happy that narrative games are gaining a audience and are viable in this really saturated market. And the game got released in June. Is it been critically? I noticed that it has, at least on Steam, it stands on a very positive point with almost 900 reviews. How is it doing? Is it doing as you expected, or
It's doing very well, and it's doing also like better than we expected, and the community is very sweet and very kind, and we're really happy that we got to reach the audience that we reached with it. So it's been a very nice experience, and we're very happy for our community and the audience because they've been really nice, and it's been so, yeah, it's been such a very beautiful journey to release Tavern Talk and also everything that came afterwards.
and I just pasted the URL for the Steam page for Tavern Talk because it's already on 20% discount. So if you're really curious about playing Tavern Talk, you can go there, try the demo. Although I think you'll just fall in love with it, and my suggestion would be take the opportunity of having it on our Steam sale for 20% discount and dive into this magnificent world, this really cozy and warming world of Tavern Talk. Selima, thanks a lot for submitting the game for IndieX. We're really proud of having Tavern Talk as one of our finalists, and also for spending this hour talking about
Yeah, of
the
course.
process and this
Thank you
lovely world.
for
Yeah.
inviting me, and it has been really nice being on stream with you and talking about Tavern Talk and also Vampire the Masquerade.
If eventually, by the way, this will not be a promise. This is just something for the future. If we eventually decide to do, because I've been missing playing Vampire the Masquerade, and I've been promising the some of our viewers that I would like to start a campaign. If I eventually do one that can be played online on video call, I will send you a message if you want to join and at least try Vampire the Masquerade. But
I would
yeah.
appreciate that very much.
So, and regarding Tavern Talk, please go to
Yes.
the URL, wish list, or if you don't want to just waste your time, just yeah, take the discount, 20% discount already. It's an amazing game. It's really creative. It's cozy. The art direction is amazing. Congratulations to you, Salim, and to the rest of the Gentle Troll Entertainment team. I think you did a wonderful job. We wish you the very best for the universe of Tavern Talk, and we're really curious to be able to talk about the new projects regarding this world. So
Yeah,
thanks a
thank you
lot.
very much. Bye
Thanks a
bye.
lot. And this is my last streaming session for this IndieX 2024. I'll return later at 9 for the award ceremony. And for the rest, please stay tuned because we will return in 6 minutes with another streaming session. Thanks a lot, everyone, and see you later.